are starting this meeting at 6:35. And can you do the roll call, please?
Director Cody?
Here.
Director Carlson?
Here.
Director Wood?
Here.
Director Morris? Here.
And how would you like to bring? Lead us on the first. I would like to welcome everyone to come tonight. I'm absolutely delighted that you're all here. We have kind of a bigger staff table up here tonight because we're having a presentation for you on our preliminary draft budget. And so our department heads are up here at the front with us. I'd also like, let's go ahead and introduce you. We have Vicki Nagbauer, our finance head. And we have Sherry Moran, and we have Jed Fire, our fire department, Gabe. We have Tina Helm, our fire and rec head. We have Mike Russell, our superintendent of press, and we have our board members. Who did I forget? I'll go back. We have Ellie Wooten, director. We have William Carlson, director. Holly, director. Myself, Wendy Cody. We have Jill Richmond, our general manager. We have Nikki, our assistant, and we have our legal counsel, Jason Evans. And Patricia that was Kate. Our CT in our office. Thank you all for coming. Tonight, I would like to bring your attention to our speaker card, and I encourage you all to go get a handful of them. We'd like to have you turn them in to help us better manage our meeting tonight. So a couple of items on there are voluntary. You do not have to put them in, but we do need to know what you'd like to speak about. So you get several opportunities to speak tonight. We want to hear from you on all of these items. You get to speak at open forum and every item on the agenda. So I would encourage you to get these little speaker cards, and when you put down the topic you'd like to discuss, please turn them to Nikki here up at the front, and she will match them according to order, and then we'll be able to call you up and listen to your comments. You can also fill these out while we're discussing the topic. For example, if you hear something and it inspires you, and you're like, okay, I do want to say something, please go over and get a card. They're on this table, and they're on the other table on the other side. And please get them and fill them out. You really, really want to get them in. Okay, so, all right, so we're going to move on to our adoption of the agenda. We have a motion.
I would like to ask the board to pull item number 11, which is the actions related to the lighting landscape district. The staff report has errors in it. The engineer's report is correct, though. The draft preliminary engineer's report does contain rate proposals, a budget, and so what we would like to do is bring it back to the board at our special meeting on June 26th, after we do the public hearing on stage, and pull their broader conversation about the area.
I move to adopt the agenda of item 11. All in favor? Aye. That's 4-0.
And moving on to our recognitions and presentations, tonight we have a recognition, and I'd like to have Lydia Rosie present that. She's the vice chair of our Senior Leadership Council, and maybe she can also introduce any other members of the Leadership Council who are here.
So, Jill, can I help you with this?
Approach so we can hear you.
Well, it's Tina.
You know, Cameron Park is a wonderful place to live. And wonderful people in our community such as Sylvia Carey. We are giving her a certificate of appreciation for her time and assistance with the community services district. She has actually sparked the creative abilities of many of the, well, not many of the members of our community, but a few members of our community. And because of Celestine, that we now have a art program that happens every second and fourth Friday of the month. So Celestine, will you come here, please? I'll present you with this.
Thank you, Jill, and thank you, Olivia. And I just want to thank everyone that's taken my class and given me the opportunity to do something that I love doing. So it's something that sparks joy in me to teach other people things that I like to do, and I hope they get a lot out of it. So I have some regulars in there like Olivia and Jean and Doris that really help make it fun. So thank them too. And if I could make another comment, she also created decorations at the senior
Older
American Day luncheon, which is a booming success, and the decorations of the tables for that event. That we have to make eye contact with everyone. Good evening. Thank you for having me tonight. Thank you, Jill, for working with Elaine to make this happen.
I really look forward to these meetings, and as you know, I love numbers, and I'm excited about being part of your budget tonight, believe it or not. So thank you all for being here. This is such a nice crowd. Thank you for taking the time to be part of our CSD. So tonight, I'm going to give you an update on our budget, that's the preliminary budget that just passed on Monday, and also a good news that I would like to share with you. And then if you have time and you're okay, I'll just answer questions instead of just going into all the other issues that's going on at the county. So on Monday, our $650 million budget was passed. We had a few items that we kind of got into some discussion about, and we have issues with our roads. As you know, our road maintenance is suffering, and we're still trying to find funding for long-term, viability of our roads. That's a separate issue that we're going to deal with. Our team fees are under, so the new development that comes in, the impact fees that we collect is not enough, so we're going to be looking at that as well. We have CalPERS, which is our unfunded liabilities long-term. That's a big number, so we're struggling with that. And with all of the above, our budget was a good balanced budget because we have started putting money aside for our reserve. We maxed out our reserve based on our policy, contingency based on our policy. Starting 3 years ago, we're putting money aside for a capital improvement project because we have situations that we have to build the new building for the sheriff's admin office, and we didn't have enough funding, and it's long-term liability. So to make a long story short, over the years, prior boards have not looked at the budget and sustainability and health of our budget long-term. So all that putting money aside is great. We are putting money aside ahead of the schedule for the sheriff's building as well. So the little items that we discussed, and this is where the good news come in. A lot of you know that we have senior meal program at this center two times a week. Thanks to this board for allowing the county to use the facility for free and making that possible. The county provides the meal 2 times a week. And last couple of months, the county is struggling with retirement and leave of absences. So to make a long story short, 2 of the locations have to be closed temporarily. And initially, we were going to start this program back in County Park on June 21st. And last week, there was a lot of discussion that they had other employees that didn't fall into place, hiring them, and, more leave of absences and coming their way. So the talk was they didn't know when they were going to open it. But as of yesterday, the memo said that the program is going to start on June 21st, which is this Friday. I have to tell you, the staff went above and beyond. I mean, they looked at all different possibilities, and I'm thankful to the Sheriff's Office for their collaboration to help with this interim crisis that we have to make this happen and the program opened up. So, 3 years ago when we started the program, the Church of the Foothills provides meals on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and they were talking about Wednesdays as well, adding Wednesdays. That's why the county picked Mondays and Fridays, and we thought, okay, every day there is a senior meal program for our seniors in County Park. Unfortunately, the Wednesdays has not worked out for the church, and I was able to get funding for adding Wednesdays to Cameron Park. So that's the It's past 3 to 2. That tells you how hard I work. So anyhow, without going into a lot more detail, I will just open it up to questions, and I'm looking forward to your budget tonight.
What are the total unfunded liabilities for pensions for Oglala County?
Total unfunded liabilities for pensions in Oglala County is in the hundreds of millions of dollars, and every year it changes because they change the return rate and also the amortization term. So we are looking at something that every county is dealing with, but we're trying to get ahead of it by putting more money into reserves for that purpose and looking at the future. But we had a presentation at the board meeting about a year ago, and I wouldn't be surprised that a lot of these cities and counties that have CalPERS go under, they go bankrupt. How else is it going to work? The numbers don't add up. So I'm glad that we are looking at it long term. And when we look at our budget, when we look at the 5-year projection, we are projecting to have about $9 to $10 million deficit. But with everything that we have put aside, I feel comfortable approving that budget. The first 3.5 years, I did not vote for our budget because I didn't think that we are looking at efficiencies to make everything work more efficient and effective. We are not looking at our staffing. We're not looking at putting money aside. So we are in as good a spot as we can be. And it's because the board has a strategic plan that we are serious about. So when we do our budget meeting, it's mostly based on the strategic plan, except some of the other stuff that kind of comes in that is a specialty district. So we haven't been this solid for many, many years, I would say. Any other questions? Bill?
This unfunded liability has come up at every meeting that I've seen you at for the last, I don't know how many years. And it's talked about, in the last meeting you said, well, small increments, we're going to solve this problem. Well, anybody that's got a brain knows small increments, we're not going to solve this problem. Does anybody have a real solution rather than just talk about it and not do anything?
So the question is, small increments, putting money aside is not going to resolve the issue because the issue is so enormous. So to be honest with you, there are talks, and this model is not going to work. When I joined the county, I couldn't understand not looking at the interest rate and how much money I had put aside. I have something that comes in every month, which is called defined benefits. I'm coming from the private sector. At that moment, defined benefits just kicked in, and I knew it's not sustainable. So the government and the government workers are going to be the same as private sector, which is their own 401k and IRA as retirement. There's no other way that you can make this work.
Has that ever even been discussed at a board meeting?
Okay, so I would say that's probably a bigger issue at the legislative state level, and whether they're talking about it or not, there are some grumbling. At the board level, I know that they talked about PEPRA and changing the CalPERS model, so the age and the percentage that you get is more reasonable, but recently we have not talked about that. But, at that point, you're touching the lives of so many people, so we have to be very careful how we go about it. But he asked me how we would solve that issue, and I told him how to do it. I only have a year and a half left on the board. I can't do miracles. Any other questions?
I'd like to add a comment.
I attended the county budget meeting on Monday, and when Supervisor Frenson says they got into it, she's not kidding. She really got into it with seeing that there was funding for the senior lunches on Wednesdays. She really questioned some of the other board members, what their priorities were on other expenditures that really didn't seem as important once they were highlighted next to each other. So I was really grateful that we have. Let's go to Roberta and then I'll go to Mark.
Well, thank you, Sheila, for your efforts, especially regarding senior nutrition. So I'm wondering, because the issue was that 50% of the staff was either retired or went on leave, and apparently, because the union says they can do this without notice, is what led to this crisis. So can that be averted? I mean, it just seems like what if the roads needed to be plowed or fixed or something, and half the staff of the transportation went on leave? How does that work?
So the question is, because of the crisis, the reason the program, the senior nutrition program in County Park was closed and put on hold is because of the staffing. So Roberta is asking, how do we know it's not going to happen? It is going to happen, and it's going to be an ongoing challenge. That's why I'm thankful to Cher for trying to pick up the slack and help with that program. And also, we're looking at other alternatives. Is there another provider that, whether we have the staff or not, they can abide by the regulations that we have, because the nutrition is so strict for the seniors? Can we find a vendor or a business that we can go and just buy everything from them, whether we have the staff or not? So those solutions are all on the table, and we're looking at it. So the sustainability of the program for the entire county, because right now we see it in Camel Park, because they did the study that Camel Park, it was a location that they could go to other places that provide meals, and also the deliveries, home deliveries, that did not stop. So there was a lot of calculation done to pick this location. But if it continues, it's going to impact all the programs. So yes, you are, and again, thanks to staff and Daniel Del Monte. He is just amazing, the job that he has done. He's on top of it, he communicates. You're very lucky and fortunate to have him. And I'll go to Barbara. Am I with time? Sure.
Yes. I just wanted to tag on what Felicity said. Shiva Frenton is a fighter, not only for our district, but for this community, but her whole district, but all of El Dorado County. You can watch her in action every other Tuesday now on if they live stream it, and if you can't live stream it, you can pick it up later. This lady does a great job for all of El Dorado County. She listens to the people and she does what's right. And we're very fortunate to have her as our supervisor. So I want to thank you.
Thank you, Barbara. Any other questions? Okay, thank you so much. I have my cards here. If you ever need anything, I have open door policy. Again, I would love to listen to what your needs are. The more you communicate with me, the more I can represent you on the board and do things that are going to benefit our district and our community. So thank you for having me.
Thank you very much, Shiva, for bringing us up today. Moving on, our next item is the approval of our consent agenda. Is there a motion?
I'd like to,
Charlie?
I would like to move to approve the consent agenda, but I'd like to pull the staff report.
The staff report.
Thank you.
On item 4, which is the form agenda from the Board of Directors meeting on May 15th. The closed session items, the order of those two things should be reversed. Okay, the report out just needs to be reversed. Is there a second for approving the consent agenda with the staff report? Everything was pulled, that's pulled, right? So we're taking all the pulled.
That's correct.
Okay, so do we have a motion then to approve the consent agenda? I made a motion to approve. Sorry, we need a second. I'll second. All in favor? Aye. Aye. All right, everyone. Please turn in your speaker cards. We'd really like to hear from you. This is our open forum time. This is the time for you, everyone, can speak to items that are not on the agenda. And we'd love to hear from you, just like what Shiva said, the more communication with the board and with us helps us do a better job of what we do up here. So I encourage all of you to hand in your speaker cards to Nikki, and then we can pull you up. Thank you, Gerald. Absolutely, yeah. Okay, so
I want to address this issue, and it's kind of funny that you should be doing this with the little green things, because I was going to have a talk about the Brown Act. I know that all of you have been through the ethics aspect of it, and congratulations, that's wonderful. It would be nice if you would get into the mechanics of the Brown Act. I've been attending meetings, and I have seen some things, I've seen the way some of these meetings have been conducted, some of the committee meetings being conducted that have been outrageous. I mean, completely out of line with the Brown Act, completely out of line with adjudicated case law on how agenda items must be written and how they must be followed in the meeting. And this is a perfect example. I don't have, and according to state law, I can come to this meeting and not identify myself. Part of attending the meeting is the right to speak at it, which means I don't have to fill that out with my name. So if I turn that in, how are you going to know to call me? Because I didn't put my name on it. You're just going to have to ask, hey, the guy with the chicken scratch handwriting, would you please come up? This is ridiculous. I do not have to identify myself. I didn't. I won't. And you need to learn the Brown Act. I mean, there are different members of this board that have been on here for more than 2 years, and I am shocked at the lack of acumen towards how to conduct a meeting. I am shocked at what you would accept as agenda items and what you're allowed to go on as agenda items. It's completely out of line. I haven't wanted to say anything because I don't want to be negative, but this is an example of how you don't understand the Brown Act. You do not understand basic government code of how to conduct a meeting. Let's say I didn't put down that I want to speak on something, and somebody says something that triggers me, and I want to get up. Do I have to run back there, get up here, jam it in her face, and then maybe get called? Well, for me, that's kind of awkward. Okay, I don't bring my roll around oxygen with me, so that's kind of awkward. That's ADA right there. I mean, you want me going there? You don't. This is absurd. And again, I was going to speak on the lack of decorum at meetings and the lack of regard for the Brown Act and the way things are doing. But this highlights everything that is wrong with the way we conduct meetings. And you really need to get into the mechanics. Congratulations on taking the ethics. Congratulations for all getting your certificates in Brown Act ethics. But the Brown Act is also mechanics, and there is adjudicated case law that I know none of you know. None of you know, except for our lawyer here. He might know. There's adjudicated case law about how these things are supposed to work, how they, the Brown Act is specific about how they're supposed to work. There is law that has been adjudicated. People sued groups like this and won because of a lack of attention to details in agendas and the way meetings are conducted. And I would hope that you would have another workshop, another forum for the board on the mechanics of the Brown Act and the mechanics of meetings and agenda writing. Thank you. And I do want to speak on 2 items. If you don't have my name, I will speak.
Thank you.
All of those green cards say volunteer.
Excuse me.
Volunteer.
Kind of following on what Gerald has said, on multiple occasions in the past, I've been admonished about making sure that I speak strictly to the item that's on the agenda, usually by a board president who is far too obtuse to even understand what I was talking about. But I'd like to recommend and even admonish that everyone, the board, the manager, and staff, when addressing a particular item on the agenda, that you restrict yourself to comments that are strictly on the agenda item and resist the temptation to wander off onto tangential topics, okay? It will make all our time spent here much more productive and efficient. Now, having said that, I have to lodge a complaint about the Budget and Admin Committee meeting that I attended 2 weeks ago on an item that was agendized as a review of the latest draft budget. The general manager was allowed to spend more than 10 minutes reviewing all of the problems that she inherited when she took her position here at Cameron Park. And the litany of ills she enumerated really had absolutely nothing to do with the discussion of the latest iteration of the budget and should not have been allowed. But to make matters worse, she ended her comments by saying, quote, "That's what you get when you hire Blue Ribbon," referring to the people that we've employed here through the temporary agency. Now, to blame those employees for the total mismanagement of this district that occurred under General Manager Mary Cahill and previous boards and directors is so disingenuous, it's absolutely shameful.
Thank you. And let's see, we're open for it. Thank you.
And I don't want to use my name either, I never have. And many times the board requested that if you came up to the podium, you had to use your name. I'm going to tell you what I think about this little form. I've been coming here for, I don't know, about 13, 14 years. I'm going to show you what I think about this little form. Don't ever give me one of these again, because it's not right. Don't do that. I don't know who came up with it. Tonight's the first time I've ever seen it. So someone had a brilliant idea, wanted to be different, wanted to make change. I'm not against change. I want to talk about the same thing that David did at Budget and Admin meeting 2 weeks ago. I thought we were going back to the Scott McNeil, the Stanton days, Margaret Moore days, when Wade James with us all the time. And when you gavelled us down, when we had done nothing wrong, I know what I would like to have done with that gavel. And if you do it again, you'll be wearing it. Off agenda. Completely off agenda. When we met with you, Monique, the other day, you acted like you didn't realize you were off agenda. I'm going to tell you why. If you do not realize that you're off agenda, you probably shouldn't be sitting in that position, because it was completely off agenda. And what happens all the time, when something goes wrong at a board meeting, I've seen it for years, at the end of the meeting, it's always, look at how out of control of members of the community were. Well, I'll tell you what, if the people in this community are out of control, it's because 90% of the time it was caused by the board not knowing what they're doing or shutting us down. So you can continue to play this game, but it isn't going to work.
Thank you.
No. Unless you'd like to pick it up on me. No.
Barbara Rogers, Cameron Park. So I know the groundwork pretty well.
You don't come to these.
I usually have it with me, but I don't have it tonight. I do believe, while I can understand the dynamics of what you're doing here this evening, I have usually only seen cards like that when candidate forums are taking place. But It does say here in the Brown Act that a member of the public is not required to register his name or any information as a prerequisite to speak at a meeting. So I believe if you were going to do this, you should have had a sign posted that this was purely a voluntary card or information to fill out. You can't require anybody in the public to put their name on a piece of paper. Now, your attorney may not agree with me, but I'm reading it right here. So I'm just saying in all the years we've come, this has never been a requirement. I believe this very well came out of the last budget and admin meeting where members of the public, myself included, interjected statements when it was deemed by the people sitting on the board they should know when they allowed someone to speak on a non-agenda item and go off topic. So I hope that's not the reason. I really hope that's not the reason. But I will say that you are in violation of the Brown Act by asking people to put their name on a form. Okay?
Thank you. Could you make a comment?
I'm getting lost a little here, because I'm looking at this part of the street of Green Baker. Name, voluntary. Group or organization, voluntary. Email address, voluntary. Mailing address, voluntary. Such an agenda item. Where have we invaded when everything is voluntary? I'm not quite grasping.
If you're asking that question of me, I would say that if you wanted to make that statement at a point later when board member comments were made, that might be the appropriate time. I think the cards speak for themselves very well.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. This will, we'll now move on to general business. Our first item under general business are the items removed from the consent agenda, and those would be staff reports. So the first one would be the general manager staff report. You have some questions on that?
I wanted to, I thought it was appropriate at this meeting to have the department heads give a brief review based on the recap of this event. And just a state of the department, if you will. General manager.
Okay, let's see, our summer activities arrived, and Christina will talk about that with day camp and swim lessons and the lagoon and the concessions. County planning staff hosted a meeting about the Bells Woods development, and the district will be receiving a check for Quimby funds. Actually, we received it today, and those will be spent on park improvement projects, about $70,000. The CAL FIRE, Fire Safety Council, and the Sheriff's Office, and Sherry may talk about this, hosted a town hall meeting here. It was very well attended, and I was here, and I think there was great information given. I inspected the table decorations that Celestine and others did at the luncheon. That was wonderfully attended by a lot of seniors. And we also met with county staff, with Joanne Terry, who was the president of the Senior Leadership Council, about senior nutrition lunches about a week ago. So I'm sure that it helped, and she's a help to get that back started on Friday. And we had a staff meeting, talked about the budget, and where we were at. Marshall Medical Center hosted its 60th anniversary celebration on June 12th, so I missed Trucks and Tunes, but was up at Marshall Medical Center for their 60th anniversary. And lastly, we're doing our finishing touches on a transparency certificate for the California Special District Association, which will help us with our insurance rates because we get a little bit of a discount. So, and it's also a good certificate to have. Thank you, Stacy.
I'll speak loudly, okay?
Okay. In human resources in my department, the district is processing seasonal employee hiring packets and inputting those packets in payroll. We are now on between the 60 to 70 hiring packets for seasonal employees. In budget and finance, we have the 2017-18 fiscal year end processing is complete, as well as the auditor's field work, and I believe that both the 16-17 and the 17-18 audits will be heard by the board in August or September. Pardon me, I can't recall. The third draft of the 2019-20 preliminary budget is complete. Staff has presented the budget drafts 1 through 3 to the Budget and Admin Committee and the public. The appropriations limit has been calculated and the associated resolution is on your agenda for approval tonight. There is also included in my report a check register for the month of May.
Thank you. Next item would be fire department.
Okay, so we have 3 vacancies that we're applying positions for to fill. The weed abatement program is proving to be very successful this year. We were going to move forward with abating fuels on 9 properties, and all but 2 have actually hired their own contractors or taken care of it. So there's only 2 that were abating. We had the $30,000 to work with, and we're really going to be spending 10 on fuel reduction. So we got extra one year of doing it. The word is out, and you guys know this when you drive around, you're going to see the impact that that's having. So very successful. It actually surprised me, the reaction that we're getting. In line with that, we were successful in the report, but the district was successful in a California Climate Investments grant. We were the only one in the county that were awarded a grant of $336,000, and a portion of that is for fuel reduction, and then a portion is for fire prevention education, where we'll be sending out messages to get the community aware of how to create a sensible space and protect their homes, protect others, ready, set, go, knowing how to have all your valuables and things that you can get ready, and if you had to leave quickly. So that's, we're supposed to get the funding on that towards the end of the year, in the fall. We're very proud that one of our own captains that work here in Cameron Park was awarded a firefighter of the year for CAL FIRE out of a couple hundred employees that we have in Amarillo, and it's just, he is stand up and goes above and beyond what's required, and just stand out. So the units both, we voted him in, so very proud that Jonah Ware got that award. We purchased a new fire engine to replace engine 88, and that engine will roll into a reserve engine, and we've started the process to make the reserve engine surplus, and then we will sell that. We sold the equipment already, and it should be to the district here pretty quickly, and then we'll work on selling the reserve engine. If the Pineville Reserve is, we were able to get all the piles chipped along the bottom of Chasen. I know some has been a topic. Those piles have been out there for a little while, so we were able to get those chipped, and then BLM crews are working on the east side of the property that goes up by Jackie Lane. You guys are familiar with that, so there's a lot of work being done out there. And then hopefully this fall we'll be able to actually cut and burn as they go. And truthfully, we support them from CAL FIRE because it is BLM's project completely theirs. We didn't want to leave piles out there because of our part in helping to cut those piles. So that looks a lot better out there. And our call volume for Cameron Park Fire Department as of the end of May was 1,370 calls. And the other thing was we brought on 12 new resident firefighters. 10 of those were hired with CAL FIRE, so they're actually seasonal with CAL FIRE, so they've moved on, and we brought in a whole new batch, and those residents, we'll talk later, that's what supplements our engines and gives us those 3.0 staffing on the engines to help protect the community.
Thank you, Sherry, and the recreation department.
Sorry, we ran out of agenda, so we're...
Okay, well, I'm just going to go ahead and go. The Recreation Department had a very slow beginning to the summer. Memorial Day weekend ended up being a little rainy and chilly, but we are now full swing with summer. We are in our 4th week of Kids Camp, the 2nd session of swim lessons. We celebrated Older Americans Day on May 21st and had 54 participants come and enjoy lunch that was provided by Joe's Cafe, which was a success. We also had an all-rec track staff training that was held on the 4th of June, and we're getting ready for Summer Spectacular, which is the 20th anniversary, and that is Saturday, June 29th. Make sure you buy your wristbands. And also just wanted to acknowledge Hannah, Caitlin, and Alyssa, who are all working hard in their specific areas.
Thank you, Tina. And,
So in the Parks Department, staff really put a tremendous job in our weed abatement program on district properties. I did talk to CAL FIRE a few weeks ago, and they gave us a couple of sites that needed some touch-up and regrowth from all that rain we had in May. We've noticed a couple of small spots on our own, so we're following up and finishing up the rest of those sites. We continue to work with the tribe and the Miwok Indians. They're coming to the lake whenever they get time. It's about 1 to 2 days a week now. They bring a crew, and they're taking out all the tules from around the lake, and they're repurposing for their programs and their summer camps to make tule houses and clothing and boats and all kinds of stuff. So they've been assisting us, especially working on the base of the dam, because that's required by the state to have all the vegetation out there. So that relationship's going really well. Just today, staff finished repairing all the barges that they shoot the fireworks off of. So we rebuilt the plywood, made them a level surface again, so that when the fireworks show happens on the 29th, we'll have new barges to shoot them off of. We've had the assistance of growlerbirds 6 different times over the past 2 months or so. They've helped us remove some fallen trees. We had 2 really large cottonwood trees fall around Hammer Park Lake. They spent the day finishing up, helping us cut a 30-foot fire break at Royal Park. They spent a day over at David West Landscape and Lighting District, weed abating an open lot. They've also spent time weed eating the base of the dam in Bonanza Park prior to the Summer Spectacular, because we have to have a certain amount of distance back there before we can have the fireworks show. And they also assisted us last week at Rasmussen Park. They spent the day out there repairing pathways, trimming trees, weed eating pretty much the entire park site. So we have had a lot of help from CAL FIRE and growlerbird the last couple of months. Some of the things that are on the horizon is, staff is really working hard to prep for Summer Spectacular. It kind of feels like it's sneaking up on us, it's right around the corner. So we're finishing up that stuff. The lagoon is up and running, and things are going great. The community pool was up and running. Had a couple issues with the chlorine pump, but we've gotten that stuff fixed, and everything's running really smooth. Staff also repaired and installed some new drainage around the bathrooms over at Cameron Park Lake just to help us be able to hose off the sidewalks and clean up the area correctly. And other than that, it's just business as usual. That rain we got in May kind of put us behind on our mowing. We couldn't mow the fields for a few weeks, so we're finally getting caught up on all that.
thank you. And CPNR?
Okay, for CCNRs, I've received a handful of comments regarding the recently board-approved priorities for response to certain various CCNR violations. And those comments thus far have generally been positive, which is a good thing. You don't need me to tell you that it's definitely feeling like summer, so we're expecting that things are going to get very busy in the next couple months. we're trying to keep up with the volume as best we can with some of the things we put into place, including a software program to hopefully keep things moving a bit smoother. This is also the time of year that people tend to bring their recreational vehicles out, so we'd like to remind everybody that please store them appropriately. Typically one of the most common things that I run into during the summer, so I appreciate everybody in the community that helps with that. And the CCNR vehicle it's been needing a little bit of care as of late. It has been in the shop undergoing some repairs, and it's been a little bit of an assessment to see what's going to cost to keep the vehicle on the road, and more to come on that. As far as architecture review, we had a total of 29 project applications in May, 27 of which were approved, one was denied, and one was held over to June. That's a little bit of an increase over the prior month. And staff is working on developing a formalized job description for the resident committee members that are on that committee. The document will outline roles, responsibilities, and expectations for not only the committee members, but also the district, avoiding liabilities for architecture reviews.
Thank you, Kate. And I don't have any speaker cards. Is anyone interested in speaking to this topic? Dr. Porter.
Excuse me, we didn't know, is this what came off the consent calendar?
Yes.
Then we didn't know that was coming off the consent calendar. How can we fill out speaker cards?
Would you like to speak?
I know there were some people that had their hands raised.
Yes, then please, we'll love to hear from you.
If they're still going to speak.
If you'd like to speak, we'd like to have you come speak, please, at the podium.
I have a question to the two fire chiefs about the weed abatement. I have an area immediately behind my back fence that is multiple acres of brush and weeds and grass. It was abated 2 years ago, but nothing has been done since that time. I phoned and spoke to one of the weed abatement personnel, and her response was, "Oh, I'll call the owner and try to get him to do something." Is there not an ordinance that can be enforced? You know, this is probably one of the most dangerous areas in Cameron Park. Steep hill with houses running along the ridge line, and he's got oak trees with limbs that are down to the ground and weeds that are probably, 4 feet high. Like I say, two years ago, he did a beautiful job in clearing it, very, very well. But since that time, the last 2 years, nothing has been done. I didn't realize that it was an option. That you contacted the owners and said, "Gee, would you please do something?" I was told something was done on the other side of his property, down at the street, but up the hill, where our homes back up to it, nothing's been done. I guess we're just waiting for his good graces or something to get out there and do something. So, I don't know. Do we have an ordinance that can be enforced, or is this voluntary?
Thank you, Bill. Perhaps we can, Scott Fire can get back with you regarding our property.
I have a question for Cal. I'm curious, you talked about the pool. Are the sharks using the pool this year?
Yes.
Are they still with? I'm curious, are we still, the last time I saw the sharks contract, we were paying, Cameron Park was using 1 lifeguard, they were using 2. But Cameron Park was paying 1.5 lifeguards, and they were paying for 1.5 lifeguards. Is that subsidy still in effect?
No, they're currently not paying for lifeguards, they're paying for the lifeguards only when there's this one meeting.
Okay. Is there any way that people will get information about that from you? Can I contact you and find out how that's working? Because you explained it to me the last time, it was very helpful. I'll be in touch with you. Thank you.
Thank you. Good. Yes. Please.
She's up front.
in Carroll Park. I just want to thank the fire department for enforcing and dealing with the weed abatement. It's really an issue that the county is dealing with, and we have an ordinance that the board has approved, in case you haven't heard. We pretty much modeled it over the Carroll Park model, and I have to tell you, it's easy to have an ordinance. We're going to take the next 7 to 9 months to educate the public and say that we have this ordinance, but we have $291,000 in our budget for the enforcement aspect of it. So the fact that we have an ordinance and you're sending the notices to the property owner doesn't mean that you can enforce every single one of them. The enforcement part is going to cost the county and the district a lot. And, it's really hard for the property owners. This is something new. And even in Carroll Park, knowing all the details of how you need to keep your property clear and what extent you go to, it's going to be painful, but it's something that us as a community and the county and pretty much the majority of California needs to go through with all the fires that we have. So I just want to acknowledge that it's not an easy job. And I know that you're going to have follow-ups at the county level as well. So we're watching you guys and learn.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak to this staff report topic?
Wonderful. Okay, moving on to our next item, which is item 9, which is approving resolutions that relate to our workers' compensation.
This is an item asking for approval of the necessary documents to begin membership with the Special District Risk Management Authority, including workers' comp. They are currently our property and liability insurer. And what we're asking is your approval to what we're asking for, excuse me, is your approval to go forward with the documentation necessary so that we can then have all of our insurance needs met by this SDRMA.
So let me read for you the recommended action is to approve Resolution 2019-10, Resolution 2019-11, which is the Joint Powers Agreement, and the State of California application with corresponding resolution number 2019-12. Basically, it's a resolution that's saying that our district is going to become a member of the workers' comp aspect of the Special District Risk Management Authority. The other two resolutions are agreements that have to go with the state, which defines the relationship with the state and providing workers' comp as well. So those are the three resolutions. And just to echo what Vicki has said, SDRMA provides discounts for bundling. Also, they provide discounts with incentives. So if you attend training, if you have a transparency certificate, there's additional discounts. And so, I think it's really difficult to keep track of all of the insurance rates because they increase a lot, but we feel like bundling and having one provider is really the way to go. So that's the recommendation before you. Any questions from the board?
I have a question. First one is 2019-10. I understand we're getting a 5% discount by bundling the two services, but what's the difference in what we're currently paying? Is it less expensive than giving the 5% discount?
So the insurance rates are estimates based on their quote is already contained in the budget. It's been very difficult for us to compare because insurance rates continue to escalate. And so both insurers, when we compared them with future costs, were comparable, but since we had an opportunity to get those discounts, then our insurance rates can potentially go down.
We don't know what we saved.
Well, there will be a savings, and actually, the board last year received a list of conferences and trainings that you could attend, and there's up to $4,000 savings. So if Monique went to the safety day by FCRNA, and so we got credit for that. I think last year, we received about $2,000 or $3,000 in credits. We didn't reach the $4,000, but with the board's help and with staff's help, we're hoping to reach that $4,000.
I understand that, but we don't need to bundle. So my question remains, do we know what the difference is between the two services, even though we're getting a 5% discount for SDR range bundles?
Again,
We don't know. We don't know.
the rates for both insurances were comparable. There didn't seem to be a lot of difference, but since there was an opportunity for us to lower, I mean, we were basing SBRNA rates on a quote, and we were basing NCSBIA rates on what could have been our rate. So it was difficult. They seemed very comparable, but because of the opportunities to discount and managing one insurer instead of two, we felt that this was the way to go.
And can you please explain for myself and the residents attachment 9B, resolution 2019-11, discussing that governing body members and volunteers should be used as employees of the district for the purpose of providing health services.
So it's a resolution that says that we are buying into that workers' compensation policy. And not only our employees will be covered, but our volunteers will be covered as well. Is that a new concept? I asked Vicki that about the volunteers, and NCSBIA also covers volunteers.
Anytime.
The volunteers are primarily, I'm sorry, Polly, most of the volunteers that we work with in this is for resident firefighters. That's why it's important that we have a good policy for that.
We need to make sure.
Any questions from the board? Okay, we'd like to hear from the public. If you have any questions, we'd like to hear you. Here.
When you have employees, let's say through a temporary agency like Blue Ribbon, do you have to carry the workers' compensation on it, or is there an agency?
I believe Blue Ribbon carries that. Blue Ribbon carries that, and it is covered in their overhead fees that we pay to Blue Ribbon.
You said that volunteers would be covered under our policy, our workers' comp policy here. Now, does that include, what about like the Brownsburg people? How are they covered?
Yeah, I think they're covered by the state, and I don't know that they're considered volunteers. So resident firefighters actually submit paperwork to the fire department on behalf of the district, and there's a relationship there with the state.
Somebody has to cover the relatives. They're covered. They get injured. They will sit.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, bringing it back to the board. Any other further comments? Do we have a motion?
I move to approve resolution 2019-10, resolution 2019-11, comparison of the state of California application to become a member of special district group claims and authority workers compensation program, and corresponding resolution 2019-12.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now, item 10. Everybody is here. So what we're going to do here is just provide a presentation to the public to provide a deeper understanding of what our budget looks like, and that's what our department heads are going to provide to us. After the presentation, the board will ask questions, and then the public will ask questions, and then we'll come back to the board. I'd like to remind you that this is a preliminary budget, that this is a draft, and as a result, we will have another budget and admin committee, and that you're all welcome to attend, and we'd like to see you there, and the final budget until August, right? Yes. And, okay, so we'll go ahead and kick off we need to open, we're now opening a public hearing. So thanks everyone for coming. I know that there has been a lot of communication out and amongst all of the residents and with staff. The newspaper is here tonight. They will continue to follow the story. So please stay tuned as we move through this process. So staff is recommending service level reductions to begin to balance our annual expenditures with our annual income or revenues. The draft budget was vetted as a budget and admin committee in May and June. So we vetted them 3 times with the committee and with the public. But committee meetings are more of a working meeting. There's more give and take in those meetings. Work meetings tend to be a little bit more formal. The more significant recommendations that you'll hear about tonight is suspending summer spectacular, not operating the swimming lagoon, staff reductions, eliminating property tax support of the recreation programs, reducing property tax allegations to the weed abatement ordinance, and closing the community center 2 days a week. So how this is going to work is that Vicki is going to give you an overview of the numbers, and then she's going to get into the administration department budget, and then we will just go on down. Each department head will provide an overview of their budget and staffing levels, what services they're providing, and what services they're not going to be providing, and then we'll wrap it up at the end. There is pens and paper in the back. And so you're welcome to take notes during your meeting. We're happy to answer questions at the end of the presentation. So you're welcome to take notes. Also, we have those tickets right now. Take it away, Vicki. Okay, we need the next slide. I'm sorry, this next goal is, I'm sorry, I forgot my next slide. So, this is my slide, and I just wanted everybody to know that we all have a common goal here, and the common goal is the future financial health of the district. It's in the best interest of the staff, it's in the best interest of the community, and the board members who are here that live in the community. We all have different, have different roles in this process. We all have a different position. It's staff's job to do an analysis, to look at our fiscal documents, service levels, staffing, talk within board committees, talk with residents, and then we do the work, we analyze, research, and we make recommendations. The community, their role is to provide input, come to our committee meetings, come to our board meetings, and have input into our priorities and what our service levels are. And then the board's role is to take all that in, staff recommendations, the community's input, and their role is to consider all of that information and to make a decision. I think everybody has an equally important role in this process, and we're all here with that common goal. So now, you can take that. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to give you a financial overview of the preliminary budget from...
You can just turn around in your seat. We've left you enough room to be able to just turn around.
From the point of view of the general fund. Our operating deficit is $2,407 for our operating fund. The plus capital outlay deficit of $223,500. The total budgeted deficit comes to $244,000. Again, that includes the $20,000 for the operational deficit and the $220,000 for capital outlay deficit. The general fund total expenditures are $6.9 million. The total revenues are $6.7. Our property tax revenues total $4.1 million. Fees from services, $2.4 million. And franchise revenue, $200,000. The total budgeted deficit is a 26% reduction over the 18-19 final budget, and we're seeing a 1% overall increase in revenues. That's the overview for the operating general fund. Now I'm going to go into administration and talk a little bit about my department. Administration and finance provides district management, finance and human resources, and administrative support to the district departments with an operating budget of $227,000. Revenues include property taxes, waste management franchise fees, and interest earned on the general fund balance. The responsibilities of my department they include district management, financial and accounting support such as budgeting, payroll, contract management, special reporting to state and county agencies. We also provide customer service for recreation program registration and facility reservations, as well as front desk reception. Our human resources section of our department provides recruitment and hiring in the district, personnel actions, and then finally we have secretarial support to the board. The information systems that we have in our department include RecTrack and Avila. We've used both of those for our financial information. Our staffing includes 4 full-time positions: the general manager, the finance human resources officer, the accounting specialist, and the front desk reception. We also have 3 part-time positions that work less than 20 hours. That is the board secretary, the safety coordinator, and the backup receptionist. We also have the grant writer contract position. Administration and finance has offered reductions and changes, which include elimination of a special projects employee, a retired annuitant, the reduction of hours for the safety coordinator, and the reduction of hours for the backup receptionist. We've also looked at the 5% overall budget reduction. These reductions will be layered for necessary special projects. They will impact customer services with longer lines and wait times, both at the front counter and on the phone. We also will suffer from out-of-date safety, emergency action plans, illness prevention plans, and employee manuals. This will result in delay or reduced safety training and will result in increased district risk for injuries, safety violations, and potential legal and regulatory actions, possibly resulting in fines, penalties, and legal judgments. Now I want to talk a little bit about the fixed cost budget unit. This is a budget unit that we just
put together this budget here, and it's our attempt to segregate fixed costs. In the context of what we're talking about tonight, these fixed costs are those costs that would remain if the district closed its doors tonight. These costs include insurance, unfunded CalPERS liability, retiree health benefits, audits and accounting services, government fees like the Cameron Park Dam, and the budget contribution to LAFCO. And that concludes my presentation for administration.
So the Cameron Park Fire Department provides fire protection and emergency services to residents of Cameron Park under a contract with CAL FIRE. We have Fire Station 88 that has an advanced life support engine and staff of 2 personnel. We have Fire Station 89. It also has an advanced life support fire engine, so it has paramedics on both engines. And we have the advanced life support medic unit, which is the ambulance that's funded through the JPA. And that engine and that ambulance are each staff of 2 personnel. And then the 2 battalion chiefs, their offices are at Station 89. We have roughly 10 to 20 resident firefighters that help to staff both of these engines, or both the fire stations, and they perform as a third member on engine company that increases firefighter safety while providing better service to the community. They work closely with the ambulance personnel, work at community events, and they receive considerable training at the fire stations from both. Next, please. So our proposed fiscal year 1920 operating budget reduction is roughly $251,000. The CSD is estimating, based on past savings, that we're going to, CAL FIRE costs will be $250,000 under contract. We're definitely there this year. We'll be there and more. And then we reduced training travel costs for $1,000, and we also reduced some computer hardware and software costs. And on the capital outlay, we have 2 engine purchases payments. We have the current engine lease that we're still paying on, and then we have the new engine lease payment for a total of $185,000. The new engine equipment to outfit the new 88, $130,000. And then we are proposing a reduction by deferring the Station 89 bay door purchase to the following fiscal year for $25,000. The engine rental reimbursement is estimated at $100,000. That is conservative based on the past, but it's a number that we came up with. And then we have the 2 battalion chiefs pickup trucks, which is actually $75,000. And Station 88 engine bay doors, $15,000. Those are budgeted for the current fiscal year, and I don't know if that's going to roll over the next fiscal year or not. That's currently budgeted for the current fiscal year. And then the weed abatement ordinance program, we have 2 to 4 part-time seasonal staff assigned to assist the fire marshal with keeping Cameron Park safer from fires, and by implementing the Cameron Park weed abatement ordinance program. So we have the vacant and approved properties are inspected, property owners are educated on defensible space and field reduction, and the non-compliant hazard properties are abated at the owner's expense. And we have a fully functioning vacant lot weed abatement program. At mid-year, we actually include the improved lots, so we're studying this year doing an educational process, and it has a tremendous impact on the public. By the time they're going out for their second inspection, we're having in the 90 percentile of people who are compliant with their defensible space from their home. So it's really having a positive impact on that. And then for the weed abatement ordinance program, It's currently based on the mid-year adjustment. It was funded for $180,000 for both, and for the 1920, it's currently funded for $116,590. And then we have, at the next budget admin, we're going to be proposing having like a modified program for both improved and unimproved, with 2 personnel. And we're going to utilize some of the funds from the CCI grant to help with the prevention education, and also some of the field reduction on parks properties to help offset some of the costs here. So the grant's going to cover about $30,000, and you're seeing $23,000 to recovered from abatement. So the program with 2 personnel would require additional funding of the $51,479 from property tax allocation, which will be presented to the board to determine if that can be done.
Stand up so I don't turn my back there. So the Parks Department, the department description is that the department maintains the district parks, which include neighborhood parks, sports fields, Hacienda Dog Park, Cameron Park Lake, and various open space lots. The department utilizes CAL FIRE gravel work to assist with open space and park maintenance. On-the-spot janitorial assists the district by deep cleaning the park restrooms every Wednesday. And the park staffing level is listed below. So the Parks and Facilities Superintendent spends roughly 33% of his time in the Parks Department. The Parks Supervisor spends roughly 70% of his time in the Parks Department. 2.3 full-time maintenance worker twos in the Parks Department. And just so everyone knows, the reason there's percentages and decimals is because some of the staff overlap between Parks, Community Center, and Parks and Landscape Lighting Districts. There is 2 part-time maintenance worker ones. One of them is year-round, and the other one is seasonal. And then there is an admin assistant who spends roughly 25% of her time working in the Parks Department. The department also works with Ponderosa Little League, Prospector Soccer, Mother Lode Rugby, Pickleball, the Tribe, Eagle Scouts, and various other volunteer and organizational groups. And they may be also working with disc golf in the near future. Okay, so in 2018-2019, the Parks Department operating budget plus capital expenses was $851,329, which was 18% of the property tax allocation. For 2019 and 2020, the operating plus capital projects is $613,278, which is 10% of the property tax allocation. Some of the major changes and reductions that we've proposed was eliminating the lagoon, Cameron Park Lake, eliminating 2.5 seasonal staff within the Parks Department. It includes underfilling the Parks Superintendent, it's supposed to say supervisor, so underfilling the Parks Supervisor position with the Maintenance Foreman position. It does include utilizing the California Climate Investment Grant to offset some of the costs associated with the fire fuel reduction on the district's open space properties. And pretty much each line item had a 5% reduction or more in services and supplies. So a couple notes on that. So the impact that some of these changes would have on the community. I'm going to talk about the staffing reductions. So eliminating 2.5 seasonal staff would definitely create some workload issues. It would impact staff's ability to respond to incidences, for instance, like at the skate park and vandalism, but not only in the parks, but throughout the community. The Parks Department assists the community with cleaning up trash and furniture that is laying around town that we probably wouldn't be able to get to. The attention to detail at Cameron Park Lake, specifically the east cleanup, it is an everyday job for a part-time staff. The department's ability to assist recreation with special events, hanging banners around the community, and preparing flag football and softball fields for the sports groups. The routine maintenance of all park properties. Staff will just not be able to spend as much time in each location, prioritizing responsibilities and workloads. The ability to check and repair the irrigation system in a timely manner. This could result in an increase in the department's water costs. And the ability to staff the weekends throughout the summer. You may have to cut back on weekend hours. And the last one I want to talk about was underfilling the park supervisor position with the foreman. They have two totally different job descriptions. That impact would put the park superintendent out in the field more, working with staff, and less time working on projects like solar, architectural review committee, special district events, special projects that may be funded using park impact fees and potential grant opportunities. And then the workloads would also increase because underfilling the supervisory job of the foreman would eliminate a maintenance position within the department. There was a capital outlay project, so these are some of the projects that we're looking to get done in 2019, 2020. Repair the dry rot and repaint the park maintenance shop, which is located at Cameron Park Lake. Those funds will be funded by Quimby, which doesn't come out of the general fund. Repaint and repair the parking lots at Cameron Park Lake, Crystal McCullough Park, and Rasmussen. Quimby funds as well. Rasmussen is in need of some major repairs. There's a lot of dirt and debris that's actually coming up with the asphalt. Purchase a new vehicle to replace the old golf cart, which required major repairs. Upgrade the utility vehicle to a 4x4 would allow the district to have access to a lot of the open spaces that we can't currently get to. The T-ball field that we proposed to build at Crystal McCullough Park, which would be funded by park impact fees. Update the master plan at Rasmussen Park. And then install a new disc golf course at Bonanza Park, which has been brought forward by the disc golf organization, which is fully funded. Before I'm going to get community center is a separate budget from the parks. Maintenance staff are responsible for maintaining the community pool, plumbing and electrical systems, HVAC equipment, landscaping, janitorial services, audio-visual equipment, and providing setup and cleanup for renters and special events. On-spot janitorial provides the detailed cleaning of the restrooms on Fridays. Cintas Corporation provides the janitorial supplies for the community center. The department utilizes Ski Air, Lincoln Aquatics, the National Aquatic Services to repair and help maintain the district's mechanical equipment. Staff is also responsible for keeping up on various permits, keeping them up to date. So the department staffing levels for the community center is the Parks and Facilities Superintendent, spends approximately 33% of his time. The Park Supervisor, 10%. There is one full-time maintenance worker too, that's allocated to the community center. There is 4 part-time maintenance worker ones, which are all under 20 hours a week. The community center works with recreation programs, the Sierra Sharks specifically, and several other user groups that run the center. So the 2018-2019 operating budget is $392,824. There is no property tax allocation for the community center. 2019-2020 operating budget, $305,144 with no property tax allocation. The department reductions and changes include closing the community center 2 days a week. Department would save on utility costs and eliminate 1 seasonal staff position. And we reduced the operating budget by 5% or more. Closing the community center 2 days a week, the rough estimate savings for closing the community center would be about $36,000 annually. This includes utility costs, janitorial supplies, and eliminating a part-time facilities maintenance 1 position. Closing the community center does not include shutting down the pool while it is in operation. The pool pump has to continuously run, and chemicals need to be fed into the pool. We may see an additional savings with closing the community center 2 days a week. If we can program the pump, it's a variable speed pump, we can program it to run at a lower speed while the center is closed. That is it for me.
Thank you. The Recreation Department provides opportunities for a whole variety of activities of all age groups. Recreation programs reach thousands of residents and attract people from the surrounding community to the community center to participate in special classes, senior activities, sports programs, as well as Cameron Park Lake. We also have sports programs that we offer and are held at some of our other parks, including Kristen McCullough Park, Dave West, and Rasmussen Park. We also have special events that are held throughout the year to large audience, and those are held either at the community center, Cameron Park Lake, or over at Kristen McCullough Park. Currently, the recreation staff levels are a full-time recreation supervisor, 1 to 3 part-time recreation coordinators, and up to 75 seasonal staff, lifeguards, concession, kiosks, sports, and summer camp staff. It just depends on what season it is. It is extremely quite a few part-time staff right now. Then for the department reduction and changes, it includes the eliminating the lagoon at Cameron Park Lake, eliminating the summer spectacular event, offering a spring flag football program as not to compete with the junior boom ball program, and also a reduction of 5% on some of the services and supplies costs.
Okay, is that the end of our presentation? Okay, okay.
Okay, CCNR conditions, covenants, and restrictions is actually Fund 2. It's separate than the general fund. The CCNR department is composed of 2 primary funds. One is the CCNR compliance aspect, and then the architectural review committee. And there is 1 full-time employee to serve those functions. Staff provides CCNR compliance enforcement to the property owners in Cameron Park district and the outlying areas of the district. That involves identifying, verifying, and commencing enforcement action where appropriate, and working with the residents to reach and remain in compliance with their CCNRs. There are approximately 7,000 properties in the district, and there's at least 90, I'm still finding little ones, 90 distinct neighborhoods in the district, each with their own set of CCNRs. Architecture review is a requirement of each CCNR, and staff facilitates the process for reviewing, the process for architecture review, preparing for committee decisions. In addition to that, there are the administrative functions for staff, which is every other department of preparing budgets, board reports, things of that nature. Operational changes for the upcoming fiscal year. In December of 2018, there was a software program that was purchased and implemented to modernize the program and move away from all manual processes. And this creates a lot of efficiencies and better record keeping for the program. The board also recently approved, as I mentioned before, priorities for responding to certain types of violations. The most notable change in budget is a reduction in funds allocated to legal services. There are day-to-day legal costs that are incurred in getting legal opinions, clarifications, guidance for regular architecture review and CCNR enforcement, regular activities. Any legal fees that would be incurred as a result of pursuing any particular violation would go to the board for approval and appropriate adjustments to the budget as necessary. On the other side of that, there was new architecture review fees. Some architecture review fees increased effective January 1st of 2019. They have remained unchanged since 2005.
CCNR, again, as I mentioned, is separate from the general fund. It is funded specifically through the $12 special tax assessment that you see on your property taxes. That's an annual fee that was voted by the residents of Cameron Park back in 1985. They capped that at $12. So that is the most currency that can be assessed, and then also the architecture review fees.
Okay, here's our last slide. I'll kind of recap it. This is an overview of the district and the program budget. And so across the top, you'll see some of the things that we talked about tonight, which is our fixed costs, our admin department, fire department, our weed abatement ordinance program, parks, community center, recreation. And you see a subtotal, and that subtotal represents our operational costs. We then have capital outlay, or capital improvements, like our fire trucks or the T-ball field, and then on the end, we have a total over under. Down the left-hand side, you can see revenues from fees and other sources. You can see our property tax allocation, and if you go all the way over, that property tax allocation is at $4.134 million. There's a subtotal of revenues, expenditures, and then an over-under. And then on the bottom, there is a percentage of the property tax allocation that is assigned to some of those program areas. I recognize that it actually adds to 99%, but that last 1% was a rounding, and that last 1% is kind of scattered between several. That's why it's that way. So you can see that we ran out of money, or at least ran out of property tax revenue about the time we hit parks. And so it's a collective $20,000, as we talked about in the beginning, that our operations is short, even with the reductions that we're proposing. There is an additional $223,000 in capital improvements, and then on the end, there is $243,000. What will happen is that this budget is moved forward. At the end of the year, there is a reconciliation that takes place, whether or not we met budget, were we under budget, or were we over budget. And if we met our budget, and if we spent in the negative $243,000, what would happen is that would come out of our fund balance. So our district has a fund balance of about $3 million, and that's kind of like the beginning checking account number. And then all of this revenue and expenditures occurs for the year, and at the end of the year, you reconcile it and see how you did. So what we're trying to address, and our goal is to get all of our annual revenues and expenditures that meet, and that we stop taking away from our fund balance. So because your fund balance is like your savings account for a rainy day. If the economy changes and our property tax revenues go down, we have to have something in place to do that. So that kind of concludes our presentation. And I think that you can just leave it on that slide if you want for your discussion. So I think that we'll open it for. Thank you, everybody, for preparing your report for tonight. We very much appreciate it. I'd like to now ask the board to ask questions of our staff, if they have any questions regarding the budget.
Yes, I have 4 overall comments or questions on different departments and aspects of the budget. Shall I go ahead and dive into all 4 or one at a time?
I'll go for all 4. Okay. I'm going to stand up. Because it's more comfortable, and then I can see the public too.
First of all, I want to commend staff for digging up these numbers and allowing us to better examine our priorities. Can you all hear me in the back? Okay. Especially department heads. I think it's a lot like watching an archaeological dig. There's kind of little bones emerging from the deep dust, and people are still dusting it off, and you can't tell if it's a leg or an arm or a mastodon or a Chinese soldier. So I really appreciate the work that you're doing. However, I feel that we are going to need some more clarification on what exactly it costs to run this district. So here are my 4 general questions with specifics. In facilities, I see that there's a line item of $54,000 for professional services. It looks like that went up about $12,500 from last year. And I'm assuming that that is janitorial services. And it concerns me if that is the case, that we are looking at spending, contracting out janitorial services for 2/3 of the amount that would cost us to run the summer spectacular. So these are the kind of priorities that I want to be able to see really clearly as we continue to dig into the numbers. I'm move into my next subject, and then soon staff can respond later. In the recreation department, I was looking at 4 operating income line items